Okay, let's unpack this figure who is, well, arguably one of the most contradictory rulers in European history, Frederick the Great.
He's a total paradox.
Yeah.
We're talking about Frederick II, born in 1712 into the Hohenzollern dynasty.
And to really get him, you have to start with his father, King Frederick William I.
Right, the Soldier King.
That title tells you everything, doesn't it?
Mm.
The father demanded this. Just absolute brutal military discipline.
Young Frederick's whole life was dictated by these harsh Prussian military rules. He was supposed to be a general and nothing else.
But he just completely rebelled against all of it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Imagine being forced into military drills when all you want to do is, read French philosophy or play your flute.
He was secretly composing music and sneaking books into his room.
And this wasn't just typical teenage rebellion.
Yeah.
The conflict got so bad that Frederick actually tried to run away.
He tried to flee to England, right, just to get away from it all.
Exactly. And this is where things get really dark. He was caught.
And his father saw it as treason, a complete betrayal.
The punishment was severe. It basically forced Frederick to reluctantly accept his destiny as a royal.
But that whole experience forged his character. He was hardened, for sure, but he never lost that love for culture.
So when he finally becomes king in 1740, he immediately starts changing things.
And the first thing he does is build a place that really reflects who he is.
Yes. He needed a space where the king and the philosopher could be separate. He needed an escape from the Berlin court.
Which became Sanssouci Palace in Potsdam.
And the name itself, Sanssouci. It's French.
It means without any worries or cares.
It was meant to be his retreat. It was a very personal project for him. He didn't just hire someone. He drew the first sketches himself.
Which is so different from other kings at the time. They were all building these massive, intimidating palaces like Versailles to just scream power.
But Frederick's palace was built fast, between 1745 and 1747, and in this lighter, more elegant Rococo style.
And it was just a single-story building.
A single story. Purposefully small. It wasn't for showing off to diplomats. It was a private villa, just for him and his intellectual friends.
That simplicity really says something about him.
But the outside. The outside is a total masterpiece of design.
Those famous vineyard terraces.
Exactly. He didn't just plant a garden. He engineered 6 wide terraces right into the hillside to get the most sunlight.
It's this perfect blend of his love for nature and his drive for efficiency.
The vineyard wasn't just for looks. It was productive. They planted grapes, but he also brought in fig trees from southern countries.
Which seems risky in a cold Prussian winter.
Well, this is where the innovation comes in. To protect them, they built glass windows right into the stone walls of the terraces.
So there were basically mini greenhouses built in the 1740s.
In incredible detail. And when you stand at the bottom, there's this long central staircase that cuts through all 6 levels right up to the palace.
It's like a physical representation of his mind. The beauty of nature combined with perfect architectural order.
And that desire for order, not just in architecture, but in society, is what makes him an enlightened monarch.
He was applying reason and logic to the whole kingdom.
That's the key. Other kings believed they ruled by divine right, answering only to God. Frederick had a totally revolutionary idea.
He said a king should be the first servant of the state.
I mean, that is a profound shift for the 18th century. It changes the whole job description of a ruler.
So what did that actually look like for the average person in Prussia?
It meant concrete reforms. For one, he completely abolished the use of torture in the legal system.
Which was a huge humanitarian step for the time.
Absolutely. And he pushed for religious tolerance for everyone. Catholic, Protestant, Jewish. A radical idea back then.
He was also really focused on practical progress, right?
Laser focused. He supported public schools, encouraged scientists, and he literally built up the nation by funding big projects like canals.
He really lived that servant role. He spent hours every day reading letters and making decisions, not just partying.
And this commitment to the people is, I think, best shown by one of his most famous tricks.
The potato trick.
The clever potato trick.
So, we all know the potato is a huge part of the German diet now, but back then, farmers refused to grow it.
They thought the plant was weird, maybe even poisonous.
And Frederick knew the potato could prevent starvation. It was a cheap, reliable food source, but you can't force people to eat something they're afraid of.
So he didn't force them. He used a little reverse psychology.
He ordered his royal soldiers to guard the potato fields, like really guard them.
Exactly. It made the whole crop seem incredibly valuable and exclusive. If the king's guarding it, it must be a treasure.
So the farmers started sneaking in at night to steal the potatoes and plant them in their own fields.
And it worked perfectly. The potato became a staple food.
Which is why, even today, you'll see people leave potatoes on his grave at Sanssouci. It's a tribute to that really practical achievement.
Now, if we go back inside the palace, his personal life there was all about culture over ceremony.
He was a genuinely talented musician. He composed music and played his flute for guests in the concert room.
And the rooms themselves were decorated in that elegant Rococo style with gold and French paintings he collected.
He also avoided the traditional royal court.
Oh, completely. He preferred to surround himself with a small circle of his male friends, scientists, writers, philosophers.
And when they got together in the dining room, they didn't speak German.
They spoke French.
Yeah.
Frederick considered it the language of the educated world. They would discuss history, politics, and all the new Enlightenment ideas.
And the most famous guest was the French philosopher Voltaire.
Voltaire lived there for several years. Their relationship was legendary and complicated. They would argue constantly, loudly.
You have to wonder why they even put up with each other.
Because Frederick valued the intellectual challenge more than he valued agreement. He wanted his ideas to be tested.
And those discussions helped spread the ideas of the Enlightenment all across Europe.
Okay, so we've covered the flutist, the philosopher, the architect. But we call him Frederick the Great for a reason.
The warrior.
The warrior. Despite his love for art, he was one of the most successful and frankly brutal military commanders of the century.
He had to be. He inherited a smaller kingdom and used his strategic genius to expand Prussia's territory and influence.
He was known for winning battles against enemies that were way bigger and richer than his own army.
And those wars, especially the 7 Years' War, transformed Prussia into a major European superpower.
And after that brutal war, this is where the commander and the architect merge again. He built a second massive building at the end of the park.
A new palace.
And this one was not small and personal. Its purpose was pure propaganda.
It was built to show the world that Prussia was still powerful, still rich, even after a devastating war.
It's enormous. Over 200 rooms, built in a grand, heavy style with the most expensive materials, marble, precious stones.
And it has that legendary grotto hall, right? Decorated with thousands of seashells, just pure decorative excess.
Pure excess. But here's the kicker.
What's that?
Frederick himself rarely ever stayed there. He built it as a political statement, but he spent most of his time back in the small, simple rooms of Sanssouci.
He ruled for 46 years and died in his study at Sanssouci in 1786.
And his final request really sums up his entire philosophy. He asked to be buried in a simple grave on the vineyard terrace.
Next to his dogs.
Next to his dogs. No ceremony, no church, just a simple resting place.
But his successor ignored him. They buried him in a church, choosing tradition over his own wishes.
And it took over 200 years. It wasn't until 1991 that his remains were finally moved back to the terrace at Sanssouci, where he wanted to be.
Today, the whole park is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. You can walk through those rooms and see his library, his flute, the chair where he died.
It really allows you to see the duality of that century, the art, the war, the politics, all in one person.
Frederick the Great was this incredible paradox. A brutal military leader who believed in reason, who loved philosophy, and who used clever tricks like guarding a vegetable field to serve his state.
His legacy really shows that great leaders are so often defined by their contradictions.
So if you think about it, it took 2 centuries for him to finally get the simple burial he asked for.
Yet, the simple act of guarding a field of potatoes changed an entire country's culture and diet almost overnight. Which one do you think had the bigger impact?
Good luck with your studies.